Good afternoon, Friar family. My name is Father James Cuddy, and it's a joy to welcome you who are participating in this homecoming at home event. Now, this isn't ideal, of course. We all cherish every opportunity we have to be together live and in person, and long for the days when we'll be able to do that again. But for now, we do the best we can. And it's a joy to be able to have this conversation with our new president of Providence College, the 13th president, Father Ken Sicard. Now, Father Ken and I are both alumni. I was in the class of 1998. Father Ken was many years before that. So for both of us, it's a joy to be here, not only as members of the college community, but also as fellow alums who rejoice in and take so much consolation in being members of this community. So Father Sicard, thanks for making the time to sit down for this conversation with the president this afternoon.
I am delighted to be here, Father Cuddy, and just so you all know, I graduated in 1978, and I remember Father Cuddy very well from his student days. And I'm delighted to be with all of you today and to be with him today. So thank you all for joining us, and I will echo his sentiments that I would give anything to be doing this in person with you. It would be so much more fun. We would have such a great time. I'd love for you to be back on campus and see all the good things that are happening here. But right now we're making the best of this situation, and I think a lot of good things are going to come out of this time together. And again, we're delighted to be here with you today.
So Father Ken, let's talk just right at the outset. Obviously the thing on everyone's minds, and certainly yours and mine as well, is the coronavirus. What perspectives can you offer on where the college is, what we've been doing, what we're doing now, maybe what we're anticipating in the weeks and months to come?
Sure. I was in New York City for spring break last year for the Big East games. And just as I was about to make my way to the Garden, the game was canceled. And I got to spend one more night in New York with a couple of alums and one of our trustees, and had a terrific time. And the following day, the city shut down. So I came back to Providence, and almost immediately we began our plans for how we were going to respond to the coronavirus and the effect it was having on our campus. You know, the students did not come back after spring break, which was really strange for us. But again, almost immediately, the community began kicking in, working together to make the experience for our students as meaningful as it could possibly be, even from a distance. And so we began the process for planning our opening in the fall way back last spring. We put together this remarkable continuity task force. There were 4 co-chairs, and over 150 of our campus community members, faculty, staff, students participated in this task force. And they worked tirelessly for months and months and months to get us ready to welcome our students back. We gave the students the option of studying remotely. We gave the faculty the option of teaching remotely. And I am so pleased to say that most people decided they would rather be in person. And so we worked tirelessly to make that happen. I've heard from probably 100 sets of parents and from students begging us to reopen in person in the fall. And as many of you know, a lot of campuses did not do that. A lot of campuses went remote, but we decided that we could do this. And we worked together, and we came up with a really, really solid plan. We worked closely with the state of Rhode Island and the Department of Health to make sure that we had all the necessary protocols in place. And we were very excited to welcome our students back.
Now, I'm going to follow up on that for a second. This is something that I know you and I have had a lot of conversations about, and I know it was something that was very near and dear to your heart, and an important part of the initial phases of your presidency here. Why was it so important that we come back live and in person, if at all possible? What is it that's that's different about the Providence College experience being live versus remote?
It's the Fryer family. It's encountering students on our campus. It's watching them move in with great excitement to their residence halls and making their way to class for the first time in the fall. And it's just a totally different feeling. All those months that the campus was empty, it was kind of depressing. It was just kind of sad not to see students and faculty and staff around engaging with each other, enjoying our beautiful campus, enjoying life here at Providence College. So it was so important to me to be able to give the students the experience of being here in person. And I think they were so grateful for that opportunity and so excited to return. Now, I feel really badly, especially for the class of 2020, because they lost out on some of the greatest times that they would have had as a class. All of their senior events they missed out on, and of course, graduation. And we had this great plan to welcome them back around October 31st and have all of their events for them and have a graduation ceremony at the dunk, but that just didn't work out. We weren't able to work it out with the state and with the dunk, and it just wasn't possible to do it. We are going to continue to work with them to give them the experience that they deserve, and we're coming up with different ideas of how that might happen. But it's
when I ask, why is it important for us to be here? It strikes me that might just be an awful question, and I'm new at this Zoom interview thing, so bear with me. Because this group gathered together to participate in Homecoming at Home, we don't need to explain that to them. This is for anyone who's spent time at PC, who loves PC. They understand the experience of being here together, and having those connections that just they happen kind of naturally, organically here on campus. And one thing that I think you mentioned, the class of 2020. And how sad it is for them and for us that we weren't able to conclude last year the way that we'd want to and the way they'd all want to. There's some 2020s who would be participating in this weekend and listening to this conversation here. And so, beyond saying the things that we want to, hey, we were going to do this, we want to do that, going forward, we'll try to do these things. How about we've got a chance now to speak to them directly. What can you offer to a member of the class of 2020 who didn't get to conclude their PC experience the way that they would have wanted to do it?
We think about you a lot. We pray for you. We are so sorry we missed out on all the fun events from last year. And it would have been a great way for Father Shanley to bid you all farewell as well. And so I know he feels the same way that I do, that we were all cheated out of this experience. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you're not still close to our hearts, that you won't always be connected to Providence College, and that you will always be welcome here. This is still your home, and we look forward to reunions with you. We look forward to remaining engaged with you, and you'll always be part of the Fryer family, even though you had a strange ending.
Yeah, and there's something too there where I think, if you're a 2020, you might just have to take our word for it right here, because you'll see things over the years to come that Father Sicard and I have experienced, and anyone who's an alumnus or alumni would know, is that you've got these relationships, they grow, they build, they're transformed. And, my relationships with all my old PC friends are unbelievable and stronger than, with every passing year, they get stronger and stronger. And so, though you may have missed that most wonderful time, there are so many good things to come that, and as they unfold, you have to take our word for it that that's exactly what's going to happen. And so, I fully anticipate it next year, and whenever we can get people back, they're going to come back and tell us that Father, you know?
No doubt in my mind.
That's what I'm hoping
I
for.
look forward to that. I really look forward to that.
Now, you mentioned the continuity task force, which is what, 140,
150.
160?
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, it's unbelievable how many people have come together. What are a couple of other ways that you've seen the college community kind of coming together and responding well and as friars in the midst of an awful situation?
I'll start with the faculty.
Yeah.
Faculty, their lives were kind of turned upside down too, because they certainly enjoy the engagement in the classroom. So they had to change their whole way of teaching and sharing with students. So they had a lot of the same challenges that the students had to try to keep everybody engaged and to teach in a way that's very foreign to them. And they just embraced it wholeheartedly. They did everything they possibly could to make the experience as meaningful as possible. And they continue to do that. You know, we started off live, as you know, most of the faculty were teaching live, some hybrid, some totally remotely, but a lot of them were you know, really enthusiastic and excited about being back in the classroom again. And unfortunately, right now, we are on kind of a remote learning period again because of the outbreak we had recently. But I know that the faculty are eager to get back into the classroom, and I know the students are really eager to come back. And that's our main goal right now, is to, you know, get through this challenging period right now, and where we're beginning to see light at the end of the tunnel. And we are getting ready to welcome our students back, both those who are quarantined and isolated, and those who've just gone home because we've switched back to remote for a while. And so we are working very, very diligently with the campus community to reopen again as soon as we can. And what's good is the students, most of the students are still living on campus. And so you still have that great feeling here, but it's not the same as it normally would be with them, you know, going to class and just living a little bit more normally than we are right now.
Now, I promise I've all sorts of good things that I want to ask you to talk about as we go on with our conversation here. But as far as challenges go, you know, coronavirus is something that the college has never experienced before. And so it's really an historically difficult time. And that would be more than enough to deal with. But you're taking office here and beginning your service as the 13th president of the college at a time when we've got this generational challenge that's being seen anytime you turn on the TV, with our nation so torn in so many different ways. And especially when you look at questions related to race, you know, it's a tragic thing that the whole nation is experiencing, unfolding day by day, and the college is certainly part of that. What can you tell the homecoming from home crowd about some of the ways in which that crisis has affected campus and some of the college's responses?
Sure. Even before I was officially president in July, I began working on a response to the campus community to make us a more equitable, welcoming community for everybody, for all of our students, faculty, and staff. And again, this was a challenging year with things that were happening in our nation. And we continue to, you know, when we wrote the strategic plan, this was one of the most important objectives in the plan, to make Providence College a warm, welcoming community, the beloved community, so that every one of our students, faculty, and staff feels welcome and valued here. And like other colleges, like the nation, we face our challenges, but we're not afraid to face these challenges. We face them head on. We have a number of initiatives planned, including town hall meetings. We have some great speakers coming on. We have a great staff working to make PC the kind of place that we really want it to be. And you know, we're in so much, we're so better equipped to deal with this than most other schools, because we're a Catholic Dominican college. This is in our DNA. So despite the challenges we face, and we will always face challenges, we're ready to meet them, and we're excited about it.
And I think, you know, we'll put a little plug in here too, in case there are any people who are participating here who might not know Jackie Peterson.
Hmm.
Jackie serves on the cabinet as a special advisor to you and in the whole community, and is building and leading the Office of Institutional Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And you know, if you don't know her, she's really a remarkable figure, and it's a great blessing to have her wisdom and her leadership. And so again, hopefully it's something people get to experience, whether it's one of these remote events that her office is putting on, or when we're able to welcome folks back, to be able to see and hear from her. I think there's it's a real cause for confidence in our college-wide response.
Yeah. Jackie was the vice president for student affairs at Holy Cross, but we don't hold that against her.
That's right. That's right. She saw the light and he came to Friartown. Now, speaking of all this, so you're taking the reins at this historically challenging time, but you're not the only one now assuming a new position of leadership. Now you've got there's been some serious transformation within the cabinet, and some exciting folks that maybe you want to share with the Homecoming at Home crowd.
In addition to Jackie Peterson, whom Father Cuddy just was talking about, we just welcomed a new provost to Providence College, Dr. Sean Reed. Sean was the dean of the business school at Ithaca, and Father Cuddy and I were both on the search committee that found Sean, and he is a perfect fit for Providence College. He's a Navy person. He is the father of 7. He is one of 12 himself. He's a very devout Catholic, and he's an exceptional academic leader. And he has just been remarkable in his new role at PC. So he and I started on the same date, and he has been a godsend. He's been just terrific, and he's really doing a great job in working with the faculty, working with the cabinet, getting to know the students and all of us. He's been a great addition to our community. And also on the cabinet is Ann Manchester Moloch, who is my executive vice president. Ann has assumed the job that I had for 15 years under Father Shanley. And Ann has worked in our office for many years. She started as a special assistant to the president and executive VP. And we promoted her to a vice president position a couple of years ago. And Ann is the first non-Dominican and obviously first woman executive vice president. And I cannot imagine having anybody else in that office right now. She has just been remarkable. She has been like my right arm for years, and the responsibilities that she has already assumed so wholeheartedly and enthusiastically has really enabled me to do the stuff that I need to do as president. And she's been a great addition to the cabinet and to the executive office. And I'm so grateful to have her. And she was in the first class of women.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So
and
she's
chairing the 50th anniversary committee for the first class of women.
So she's got PC in her veins. I actually worked for Ann when I was a student. Yeah. And
she never mentioned that.
What? She didn't mention that?
Never mentioned that. No.
I can't imagine why. Surely, it must have been the highlight of her career. Yeah, but no, I used to work for Ann back in the day when she was director of college events, and thank goodness now I was always afraid of her. That was no nonsense. She's going to make all this stuff work and work well. And so happily, I'm over the past 25 years, I've lost a little bit of that fear, but I'm still not going to antagonize her. Yeah, no, that's an outstanding thing, and it's great that you've been able to surround yourself with some great folks to respond to the crises that we're looking at. Hey, so one thing I know a lot of people like to hear about is what's going on with some of the Dominicans.
Sure.
Because even if you've been if you're an alum from way back in the day, a lot of those padres are still around and still working at the college. And what do we have to share with the folks about what's going on with the Dominicans?
We have a very, very vibrant Dominican community, and we've been so blessed with younger friars. Father James, how many in the last couple of years? At least 10.
About 10, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I wouldn't, listen, Father Ken, this is a source of concern for me, and I'm not really comfortable talking about it. I used to be the young Dominican on
yeah,
campus.
so did I.
Yeah, those days are long gone for both of us.
No, but the community is doing really, really well. It's bigger than it's been in many years. And we are getting some brilliant young Dominicans on the faculty and some really, really great guys working in the Office of Mission and Ministry, the chaplain's office. And we are so blessed to have them. And the community so far has remained very healthy in this pandemic. We were all just tested again this week, and waiting for those results, but everybody feels good. It's different because in our community prayers and masses, we no longer are able to welcome students, faculty, and staff into the Priory Chapel. So it's just us. So that's a little bit different. And we're following a lot of physical distancing rules in the Priory, and even in the chapel, we have assigned seating. And so it's different, but it's still a vibrant community and very connected to the college. And the men are as committed as I've ever seen them. And so it's a real blessing to be part of this community and to have them so engaged with the college and with our students.
Now, there's some kind of cool things to share. You can imagine that not all of the Dominicans are technologically adept, right? And so I won't tell you who it is, but on my floor in the Priory, when I'm walking towards my room, I can hear one of the older priests screaming at the Zoom as if, if he doesn't do that, no one's going to hear him. Everyone in the Priory can hear him teaching. He's yelling and screaming. What's fun to share too, we saw these pictures and videos together. Some of our chaplains who were going out trying to minister to the students, and they're checking in every day on Zoom and finding ways, especially to take care of students in quarantine who are, experiencing a little bit of anxiety and loneliness. You saw the chaplains in the golf cart going around to different spots on campus and playing music, reminding people to stay socially distant and wear their masks and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, it was that caught on quite a bit on social media. It was fun to see. I'll tell you, I never did those things when I was chaplain. I don't know. Did you do that when you were in Res Life or anything?
No.
Not exactly. Well, this is all great. We're trying to find ways for members of the Friar family to stay connected, and homecoming weekend is always such a big part. Now, as we go into kind of homecoming month, this homecoming from home, any ideas? How do we encourage members of the Friar family to stay connected during a time when we can't do what we usually do?
I mean, we really need the Friar family to stay connected, especially with our students. And if you can reach out to students once in a while, and especially if there are any opportunities for internships or work, that would be really helpful to our students. And they are, they're part of our Friar family, and we always stick together and help each other out. So I think they would just welcome that contact with you that, they might be getting in person this weekend. And as you all know, they're remarkable students. And I think you would all benefit from the relationships that develop. And I would encourage you to connect with our students in any way you can.
Yeah, of course. Now, we're always, we realize that we're all connected, not just as members of the Friar family, but our faith binds us all together too. So we're always interested, as we pray for all of our Friar family, to invite the prayers of every member of that family, for you and in your efforts as you begin your presidency, for the well-being and safety of the community in the midst of a health crisis. And there are opportunities too, and do a little plug here. There are opportunities to actually get together and, I wouldn't say pray virtually because we're praying for real, but in a remote fashion. Every night, the weeknight mass at 9 o'clock is broadcast online. You can find it on the Campus Ministry Facebook page, on YouTube, or our new app that we're using, which you can find in the Apple Store or wherever you get your apps, called Torch. You can, right there, you can plug right in and actually attend Mass. We had, I don't know if I told you this, but we had 3,500 views of Sunday Mass last week, which is pretty big, the 10 p.m. Mass. So that's a great way for folks to kind of connect to. And even, you can see some of the resources that we're trying to provide for our students there.
Sure.
So now, just a couple more things here, Father Ken. Your own reflections now. What's it like sitting in the big chair there? And realizing that you can't, you have to keep it. You can't go out that door over your shoulder there and run away back to New York. What are your early thoughts on serving as president of Providence College?
I wondered if there was some kind of curse associated with being the 13th president of Providence College, pandemic and all the other stuff that's happened. But no, I feel really blessed. I feel challenged because we've been focusing so much on the pandemic for months and months and months, and coming up with the right response to that. But there's still so many other good things that are happening. We have a great strategic plan that we have not put on the shelf, and the faculty is still engaged with that, and the community is still engaged with that. I've been meeting with a lot of alums remotely, but still it's making a connection. And I'm finding we have a lot of things in common, and there's such great love for Providence College. And I had an excellent mentor in Father Shanley for 15 years. And whenever I talk to anybody, they ask about Father Shanley. And I will tell all of you, I still live with Father Shanley, and I see him almost every day. We have dinner together almost every night. I think many of you know I love to cook, and he loves to eat my cooking. And so it's a really, really nice partnership. But it is great to be able to bounce ideas off of him. And Father Cuddy joins us occasionally, and some.
Not nearly as much as I'd like, Father Ken. Just I'll throw that out there. Those invitations don't come as often as one might think.
No, but anyway, it's great. Again, I had great leadership under Father Shanley. It was a great partnership. And so I felt very, very ready to deal with the challenges that came with being a new president. Even in a normal time, there would be amazing challenges, but this year especially, it's been more challenging than usual. But again, I am surrounded by really smart, luminous, dedicated people who have just been so helpful, so committed to the college, and such an inspiration to me. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, I mean, as we wrap up here, maybe this is a good place to sort of to say goodbye. I think that's something we've seen in every generation, where whatever the particular challenges might be, we've got an awful lot of good men and women, members of the Dominican community, faculty, staff, students, families, parents, alums, who pull together and somehow make the best of a bad situation, whatever that happens to be. And by God's grace, we wind up finding blessings where we wouldn't have expected them, find sources of grace and hope, and we persevere. And I think that's what we've seen so far now in a bad situation, and hopefully what we'll be able to see as things continue to unfold.
The outpouring of love by the community, especially on the students, has just been outstanding. It's just been such a moving experience to see this, and to see how the students have come together in support of each other. They're finding really creative ways to deal with being in quarantine and isolation, and they're staying connected with each other, as difficult as it is. So, PC at its most challenging times is when you see PC at its best. And, as president, as a Dominican friar, as a priest, that is just such a joy to me. And it makes all of the sleepless nights and all of the endless days worth every moment. And so I just consider this such a blessing from God. And PC has meant so much to me throughout my life. It's wonderful for me to be able to give back now in this way. And again, I just feel so lucky and so blessed.
That's great. Well, listen, this is really great, Father Ken. Thank you for taking the time here, and thank you to everyone who's participating in this Homecoming at Home event, this conversation with the president. And we look forward to everything else that we'll get to do as part of this Homecoming series this month. And I think the only thing left here is to ask what time you want me over for dinner tonight at Dominic's house.
Anytime, Father. You come over at 8 o'clock.
We'll talk about that later.
All right.
Thanks
God bless everybody, and thank you so much.
Go Friars.
Go Friars.